enforcers of law who are tasked with maintaining public order, protecting individuals and property, and preventing and investigating crimes. That is what being a police officer means, or at least that's what they are trying to do. Instances have aroused where police officers have misused their authority, employed excessive force, and violated people's rights, particularly those from marginalized communities, leading to distrust and fear of law enforcement. Are they subjected to such power? What are the legal repercussions for them, however? And most of all, would they be treated differently when compared to the masses? Join us as we take a closer look at two of the most uncanny cases that could make question the judicial system as a whole. Our first case kicks off with the case of Harold Hill, which is just a perfect example of how our justice system can go wrong. This case definitely checks all the boxes, including a horrific rape and murder, as well as a mishandled conviction, you name it. So then what went about? Let's start with the so-called beacons of justice, Kenneth Bordeaux and John Halloran, the detectives who were assigned to the case and the beacons of law. They were the ones who managed to extract a confession from Peter Williams, who was later discovered to have been in custody when the crime was committed. How did they even produce a fabricated confession from someone who wasn't even present? Hill claims he was physically and mentally tortured until he confessed to crimes he didn't commit. Is this the kind of conduct we anticipate from our law enforcement personnel? The trial itself was held when Hill was 31 years old, despite the fact that he was only 16 at the time of the crime and was therefore tried as an adult. At this point, it's just not fair, and it's incomprehensible what Hill is going through. Given that neither of the defendants had a criminal history prior to the incident, this is an intriguing move by the prosecution. Hill and Young were given a life without parole sentence after the jury found them guilty of the murder. However, 13 long years later, DNA tests showed that neither of the defendants' cellular components found under Kathy Morgan's fingernails, nor the hair found at the crime scene matched either of them. Imagine the sheer suffering Hill endured for something he didn't do. It continues to amaze me how Hill managed to hang on to his life. The prosecutors disputed the findings despite this evidence, claiming that the hairs had nothing to do with the crime and that the cellular material might have come from sweat or drool that the recovery teams had left behind. Even in the face of such overwhelming evidence, it's shocking that the prosecutors were so resistant. Young was killed in a hit-and-run incident shortly after Harold and Young were finally let out of jail. This almost leads us to believe that this is almost a plot to clip both of them. Hill, on the other hand, accused the city of Chicago, the police, and the two detectives involved in the case of coercing a confession and violating his civil rights in a complaint he filed against them. The case was resolved for $1.25 million, of which Hill received $500,000 and the remainder was paid to the lawyers. It's surprising that the detectives were only asked to make a pitiful $7,500 payment for their roles in this whole fiasco. You think that's all? Wait until you hear this. It should be noted that Hill is currently serving a 27-year sentence after being found guilty once more of an unrelated charge of armed robbery. In spite of this, it is obvious that Harold Hill was let down by the legal system in the past. This case emphasizes the need for justice system reform to prevent erroneous convictions and make sure that those who abuse their power are held accountable. Starting with the investigation and continuing through the trial and conviction, the Harold Hill case is a tragedy of errors. Hill was wrongfully detained for 13 years, and because the system made him a criminal, he was never given the opportunity to adapt to life outside of prison. He was completely screwed over by the system, and the police only received $7,500 each. When police officers commit acts like the ones they did, they should be imprisoned for a minimum of the same amount of time as the victims they imprisoned. Up next, we have an oddball in the form of Sergeant Mario Cardona versus Daniel Garza. After being thrown and pinned to the ground, Daniel Garza was rendered helpless. Officer Mario Cardona, a longtime friend of Garza's, was on the verge of breaking his wrist. Confronting a criminal and keeping him confined is one thing, but putting a civilian without a reason is shocking. Garza recalled, I was trying to be a man and trying to hold in the pain, but man, that wrist lock hurts. He's just bending it and bending it. But why did Cardona go so far as to nearly break his wrist? His actions were apparently driven by rage toward Garza, whom he accuses of attempting to kidnap his stepdaughter. But are cops subjected to such an authority in the first place? It appears that the two men had a long history together because Garza had once dated Naomi Villanueva, the stepdaughter of Cardona. Villanueva left her parents' home to live with a friend because the relationship had reached its breaking point. However, Villanueva was allegedly taken from her friend's home in May 2015 by Garza without her consent and brought to her parents' residence in Whittier, where Cardona lived across the street. Garza was performing pilates in his garden when Cardona saw him and told him to go to the street. Cardona started his assault as soon as Garza sat down. Garza claimed that he was not the aggressor, and a neighbor who saw the incident attested to Garza's innocence. As soon as they arrived on the scene, the sheriff's deputies saw redness on Garza's face, bruises and abrasions on his knees, and redness on his wrist. After Garza complained about Cardona, the city of Los Angeles, Chief Beck, and Cardona were named as defendants in a federal lawsuit. Garza claimed that he had been the victim of a false arrest, an arbitrary search and seizure, overuse of force, an assault and battery, negligence, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The trial also featured a video of the incident captured by one of Garza's neighbors. They had made up a story of what had happened to make him look like a hero, and me look like a criminal, Daniel Garza. The hearing was presided over by U.S. District Judge Stephen V. Wilson, who heard former Deputy City Attorney Michael Amarian speak in defense of the city. Cardona was found to have acted maliciously as an off-duty officer by the jury, and on June 26, 2017, he was ordered to pay Garza $210,000 in damages. In addition, the court added $664,000 in attorney's fees and $26,000 in post-trial costs. The city of L.A. refused to take responsibility for Cardona's actions and even refused to indemnify the officer, forcing him to pay for the charges out of his pocket. Jim DeSimone, Garza's attorney, claims, "This is the problem with the LAPD. This is why people are out on the street." The incident serves as an example of how police can abuse people and get away with it. In this instance, however, Garza was able to confront the authorities who had infringed upon his rights and prevail in his lawsuit against Cardona. It is clear that police officers cannot get away with using excessive force against citizens after the jury found Cardona guilty of malice. It is important to note that this case also emphasizes how crucial it is for citizens to be aware of their rights and to speak out against law enforcement when they believe those rights have been violated. Garza's decision to accuse Cardona of using excessive force and file a complaint against him demonstrates that people can take legal action to stop police brutality. What do you think of these cases? Which do you think is most unfair? Sound off in the comments below and make sure to let us know if we missed out on anything. While you are at it, make sure to hit that subscribe and leave a like to never miss an update from us. Thanks for watching.
Hey man, how's it going?
All right, how about you?
Good.
Give your name and badge number, please.
Yeah, it's Officer Chris. My badge is 1641. Is there
Officer
a reason
Britt.
why you're recording our bus?
Yeah, I'm gathering content for a story.
Sorry.
Personal story.
What about?
It doesn't matter.
Okay. Is there something we can help you with or help answer any questions for you?
Nothing at all. Thank
Okay.
you very much.
Are you able to give me your information just so I know who I'm talking to?
Negative. You can call me good citizen.
What is it?
Good citizen is what you can call me.
Okay. So is there any reason I got to know why you're...
Am I being
recording
detained?
right here?
The lady cops come into the frame and ask the individual about why he is recording, to which the individual assertively asks for the name and badge number of a lady cop, suggesting a desire for accountability or documentation of the interaction. The lady exits the scene.
I know I'm not on state grounds,
You
though.
are. If you're on the other side of the south side, you're more welcome to do that.
This is actually a public thoroughfare,
So I'd
right?
like you
If
to
I
go on
was
the other side of
if
the
I was
stop
coming to
sign.
visit somebody, I could just drive in here, right?
Correct, but on the other side of the stop sign, you're more welcome to do that. On this side of the stop sign is state ground. seeing how the fence is there, I'd like you to go back on the other side of the fence.
Well, I'm on this side of the fence.
That side of the fence, please.
I'm not sure that I have to, boss.
I'm asking you. I'm asking nicely.
No, I understand that. I understand you're asking me nicely, but I'm not sure that I have to do that. I'm here to get some footage. I'm a journalist doing gathering footage.
Can I see your ID credentials?
I'm not going to give you my ID,
Why not?
and I don't have to give you credentials. So I'm a journalist gathering content for a story, and I'm allowed to do this right here. I looked up your guys' property line. Actually, it's very public.
You understand what I'm telling you?
This is actually a public thoroughfare.
It's
So
not.
if
This is state ground, sir.
no, this is, I understand it's state grounds, but it's public.
Then another officer comes in. The individual and the cop they interact with disagree on the permissibility of recording in this context. To support his stance, the individual references a Department of Homeland Security memo issued in 2010, which is believed to outline guidelines concerning filming in publicly accessible areas. Amidst the discussion, the individual firmly asserts their identity as a journalist and their purpose of gathering content for a story. This claim is used as a basis for refusing to provide identification when requested.
Now, is that a law or a policy?
There's no filming on state grounds.
You said it's a
You're gonna need
policy?
to go on the other side of the ground.
Is it a policy? You said it's a policy, right?
Correct. It's our state policy. State policy. You cannot film on grounds. I need you to go back over there.
Okay, policies don't trump rights.
All right.
So
I need you to go on the other side over there. Or I will go call the police.
okay, I mean, I understand you
Is
can call the
that-
police,
is that-
but they're
is that
gonna,
the
the
direction we
police
wanna
are
go?
gonna, no, not really, but they're
Because
gonna
that's-
educate you.
I'm just trying to get you to go over there and not have an issue.
I got you, but the police are just gonna educate you, and all they're
Okay,
gonna do
that's
is
fine.
say, hey,
If
this
they
is
like to come and do
public,
that,
this
they're
is
more welcome to do
publicly.
that.
2 hours later.
And they're saying that you're free to go. So as far as I'm concerned, you're free to go.
Trying to get on ground.
Okay, and I'm free to
Can I
stay
ask
as
you a
well,
question?
right?
Can I shoot?
Officers, free to stay on this public utility, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, guys. Hey, what was your name again? Figueroa? Is that it?
Figueroa.
Thank you for being professional. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Very, very courteous. And I will go ahead and get out of here now.
The discussion surrounding the classification of the location as either public or private property. The man engages in a back and forth with the individuals present, questioning the designation of the area. In response to potential interference, the speaker mentions the possibility of calling the police and expresses confidence in their ability to remain on the public utility. As the conversation progresses, tension escalates and the individual becomes increasingly confrontational. They challenge the officer's perception of ownership over the property, questioning their authority and implying a sense of entitlement. The speaker also makes remarks about the significance of obeying orders, perhaps suggesting a critical view of the officer's actions or perceived abuse of power.
I'm just curious. I'm not being a dick. I'm just asking questions. Mr. Helmer, Jay, Jonathan. I don't want to call you.
You've obviously got my name, but you won't give me your name, right?
Of course I won't. I don't have to. I'm a private citizen. You're a public servant. It's a big difference. Right? Don't you agree?
Why wouldn't you give me your name? If there's
Just
no
because
issue, right?
just 'cause I don't have to.
'Cause you
Sir,
don't.
if you could educate the officers as far as dealing with the public and,
Excuse me,
and
one
standing on public property. So,
Who do you work for?
what was that?
Who do you work for?
I work for me. I
Oh,
work for
okay.
myself. Yeah, I'm independent. Yep.
Okay.
I am independent.
You got
Yep.
the footage you needed?
Yeah, I'm done now.
Okay.
I'm
Is there
done
anything
now.
You need from him?
Nope, he has the information to contact our public information officer. So I am requesting that you leave our grounds now.
Okay, this is public. Look, we got that straight, right? I'm in public.
You get more and more welcome.
Now
to
I
cross
might
the street.
stay here for another hour. I mean, you know, you can take a picture of me.
I'm
That's
gonna
fine.
try.
That's okay. That's your right, officer,
Correct,
to do
that's the
that.
law.
What's your name, sir?
Yeah. I'm not gonna give you my name.
Is there a reason you don't want
I
to do
just don't give my name out.
that? Are you wanted by the law?
No. Are you wanted by the law?
I'm wanted to do my
You
job.
got anything on you you're not supposed to have?
No, everything is perfectly legal. Except
The speaker engages in a back and forth with the individuals present, questioning the designation of the area. In response to potential interference, the speaker mentions the possibility of calling the police and expresses confidence on their ability to remain on the public utility. As the conversation progresses, tension escalates, and the speaker becomes increasingly confrontational. They challenge the officer's perception of ownership over the property, questioning their authority and implying a sense of entitlement. The individual mentions being independent and concludes the interaction by stating they're done filming. The individual comments on the desecration of the U.S. flag on an officer's uniform and criticizes their attitude about it. Now let's move to another video.
Okay. you have any ID on you, man?
Nope, I don't need to provide that.
Then you could probably out in one.
Like, you do not run stop sign, you get stop across the street. You get a stop behind you.
I didn't hear.
What's up, man?
You
Did I
didn't-
commit a crime?
Huh?
Did I commit a crime?
It's an infraction.
Is it a crime?
It's an infraction.
Is it a crime?
Meaning that I'm able to stop you.
Is it a crime?
You ran the stop sign.
Did I
You're
commit a
running
crime?
out of school.
No, he didn't run the stop
Did I
sign.
commit a crime?
watched it. Like, you're really crooked, sir. You really are. Because you had to stop at the stop sign to see where I was.
You know I don't have to ID, right?
This one captures an encounter between a cyclist and police officers. The cyclist questions the officers about stopping him from running a stop sign.
You ain't got nothing better to do or what?
What's that?
You don't got nothing better to do or what?
As far as what?
Like, seriously,
Like,
yeah, like, the first time, like,
going out and doing your job.
This is part of my job.
This is serving the public?
Yes.
What are you doing right now?
Making sure you don't drive, run the stop sign, and the vehicle hits you, or causing that driver to swerve, and then.
Oh, so you can't just come and tell me? You have to get my identification for that?
Yes, we do the same with everybody.
You do? What's the reason for identification?
So I know who you are.
For what? Why do you want to know who I am?
Explain it to you because you ran the stop sign on your
Because I ran the stop sign?
Yes.
Weren't you at a, didn't you have somebody pulled over right now?
I didn't. No.
You didn't? Is that right?
Our gang officer.
There was two of you, and that wasn't you right now?
There's more than one of us.
That wasn't you right now?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Our gang officers.
You ain't got nothing better to do or what?
What's that?
You don't got nothing better to do or what?
As far as what?
Like, going out and doing your job.
This is part of my job.
This is serving the public?
Yes.
What are you doing right now?
Making sure you don't drive, run the stop sign, and the vehicle hits you, or causing that driver to swerve, and then.
Oh, so you can't just come and tell me? You have to get my identification for that?
Yes, we do the same with everybody.
You do? What's the reason for identification?
So I know who you are.
For what? Why do you want to know who I am?
Explain it to you because you ran the stop sign on your.
Because I ran the stop sign?
Yes.
Weren't you at a, didn't you have somebody pulled over right now?
I didn't. No.
You didn't? Is that right?
Our gang officer.
There was two of you, and that wasn't you right now?
There's more than one of us.
That wasn't you right now?
No.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay.
Our gang officers.
The cyclist confidently asserts his right to refuse to provide identification unless he has committed a crime. He challenges the officer's authority by questioning the legitimacy of the stop, emphasizing that running a stop sign on a bicycle does not constitute a crime. The cyclist's argument is centered around his understanding of his rights and the boundaries of police authority. By asserting his knowledge of the law, he attempts to establish a position of power and challenge the officer's actions. The person accuses the officers of having nothing better to do and questions their role in serving and protecting. The person requests a supervisor and expresses his intention to file a complaint against the officer. The speaker said that on the cop's face, he will file a complaint against him as he is acting very unprofessional. The person's continuously asking about the crime he has committed and why he is being detained. The cop has no clue about it but is following what his supervisor told him to do. The person being detained expresses doubts about the officer's lack of proper documentation or penal codes to justify their actions. The officers mention a possible reason for the stop, stating that the cyclist matches the description of a stolen bike. However, the bicyclist disputes the claim, vehemently asserting that his bicycle is not stolen and challenging the accuracy of the information provided by the officers.
Yeah. But I didn't have to
A traffic
Yeah.
violation? Yeah.
I know.
He really didn't. That's what I'm like. That's what I understand.
Well, I'm not going to argue about
You're
it.
dismissed.
Thank you.
One of his reasons was because
He's able to walk.
You guys are both dismissed already.
Stop that. Stop being
No.
Stop being a jerk.
Man, do you have any other questions as far as?
Stop being a jerk.
Mm-mm.
Don't talk smack after
No. This guy needs to know.
Because he's gonna come back with his
No, he can't come back. Just like I told you, he wasn't gonna ID me.
Like, it's true.
Did he ID me?
Because like that wasn't his initial reason in the first place.
Exactly.
Like stop this bullshit. You didn't have a fucking reason. You had no reason.
We're about to see the walk of shame.
Stop that. You're a dick, dude.
That's not safe.
There it is, guys, the walk of shame.
The cyclist adamantly argues that there have been other bikes in the area and expresses disbelief at the officer's claims. He repeatedly questions whether he is free to leave, seeking confirmation from the officers. Finally, they respond affirmatively, stating that he is indeed free to go. He zoomed the camera on the cop when he was walking away with embarrassment on his face and told the cop that he'll get famous on YouTube because of what he did in the park. Now we'll move to our next video.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm alright, how are you? It's not allowed here to take photos or videos, okay? You need the permission from the administration about that.
So it's not allowed to take photos or videos here?
Inside, no.
Wait, who do I need permission from?
Administration.
From administration? Yeah, I don't think that's the case.
Long Island Audit, an individual, was recording at a public library when approached by security personnel who requested them to cease filming. The person's identity, referred to as Long Island Audit, suggests their involvement in documenting public interactions and encounters. The incident occurred within the premises of the library, where the security personnel took notice of the individual's filming activity and expressed their objection.
Have you not heard that before?
I've heard it plenty of times. It's just I'm surprised because, well, my name and my badge number is right here.
Uh-huh.
Okay, you see it?
Tibbets?
Yep,
I
640.
The pen is blocking the number.
Oh.
640?
Yep.
And Dennis 647. So what I'm doing here is a First Amendment protected activity.
That's great.
I'm recording. I know you don't care, sir, but listen, if you violate that in any way and interfere with that,
I'm not violating it. They asked you to leave.
Yeah, but that they can't ask me to leave. This is a public library. Can I speak to a supervisor, please?
Despite being asked to halt their filming by security at the public library, the individual declined to comply. They invoked their First Amendment rights, specifically their freedom of the press, as the basis for continuing to record. By referencing this constitutional protection, the person asserted their belief that their actions were legally justified and protected. The First Amendment, which safeguards freedom of speech and the press, grants individuals the right to gather and disseminate information, expressing their dissenting stance and asserting their right to document public events and encounters. When police officers arrived at the scene where Long Island Audit was filming, the individual sought to engage with a supervisor. By making this request, they aimed to escalate the situation and potentially address their concerns with someone of higher authority within the police department.
You guys should call one, correct? So, I'm going to request a supervisor again. I would appreciate if you guys can get a supervisor down here.
In a minute. You don't rule the roost here right now.
Yeah, no, I'm just requesting a supervisor just for
In a minute.
because you guys are a little bit hostile. I can see the tyrant in you, Utter.
Oh, yeah.
You're a real tyrant.
Yeah.
I can see it in your eyes.
In law enforcement experience.
Seeking the involvement of a supervisor suggests that the person felt dissatisfied with the initial interaction and hoped for a different approach or better understanding of their rights. After the arrival of a supervisor, the situation escalated further as the person was faced with the threat of arrest. Feeling compelled to comply with this ultimatum, they reluctantly provided their identification. The threat of arrest likely created a sense of urgency and fear of legal consequences, prompting the person to reluctantly reveal their identity.
Oh, I don't. Obviously, I don't. No,
You took an oath to it, though, Tibbets.
Jeez.
Dude, why you gotta be such a tyrant?
You gotta be such a tyrant. See what I'm doing there?
Acting like a child?
Yeah, so are you.
Acting like a child.
Did you get permission when you post that video of these people?
Don't need it. They're in
You
public.
don't need it?
Yeah, they're in public. Don't need it. See, you're learning something here today, man. Come on.
This is not going to end well with you, you know that.
Okay, we'll see. We
No,
will see.
I'm telling you.
We will see.
Okay.
I'm not scared of you.
You're not supposed to be scared of us.
I don't care. I'm
Okay,
just
great.
saying.
Great.
Long Island Audit took decisive action following the incident by filing formal complaints against the officers involved in the encounter. Unsatisfied with the treatment they received, they expressed their intent to pursue legal action by filing a notice of intent to sue. The response demonstrates the individual's determination to hold the officers accountable for their actions and seek justice for any perceived violations of their rights.